These include YouTube Go, a video-on-demand platform that will allow any of Nigeria's 93 million mobile web users who often have to make do with slow internet speeds despite paying dearly for data to preview content with ease and even save videos for viewing later. Pichai reaffirmed Google's commitment to equipping 10 million African youth with digital skills for jobs of the future. The tech giant has also promised to train 100,000 software developers to build world-class apps. Nigeria, Kenya and South Africa are set to be the initial beneficiaries of the drive. Google's country manager for Nigeria, Juliet Efimon, speaks on stage during a conference tagged Google for Nigeria in Lagos. Despite East Africa trending internationally fairly often of late, what with Rwanda and Kenya's high-profile presidential elections making headlines, and Alibaba chief executive Jack Ma's recent visit placing a spotlight on the region, some respectable Nigerian tech industry contacts of mine have urged me not to overlook the fact that by some important measures, Lagos continues to be Africa's most valuable startup ecosystem. According to the Global Startup Ecosystem Report 2017 published by the San Francisco-based Insights Lab startup Genome a few months ago, the Lagos tech venture scene is worth around $2 billion or 26.86 billion, trailing only Cape Town in terms of the number of startups. However, the report also highlighted the challenge that Lagos startups appear to be having in acquiring foreign customers. Of the startups surveyed, only 11% indicated that they were planning to scale their efforts globally. Google's CEO Sundar Pichai speaks on stage during a conference tagged Google for Nigeria in Lagos. This may be due, in part, to Nigerian founders adopting a Lagos-first attitude popularized by Jason Njoku, the eccentric co-founder and chief executive of the Iroko Media Group. On some level, it does make sense for Nigerian founders to focus on exploiting the advantage of being embedded in the continent's largest urban settlement, and then only once that complex task is accomplished, aim to grow the ventures across rest of the continent and the world. Given Nigeria's population and long-term economic growth prospects, the Nigerian startup ecosystem is perhaps the only one in Africa which can afford to sustainably promote such an insular focus. Nevertheless, to date, top Silicon Valley venture capital interests, including the likes of Greycroft, Costly Impact, Green Visa and Social Capital Partnership, have all identified Nigerian startups that they believe to possess the right mix of local relevance and global growth potential, and have cheerfully written sizable checks to back them. Case in point, the Nigerian fintech venture Flutterwave, which despite only being founded in 2016, has recently closed a $10 million Series A round of funding. Greycroft Partners and Green Visa Capital led this particular finance effort, bringing together an impressive group of investors. Flutterwave provides payments infrastructure to banks and businesses on the continent and has already processed more than 10 million transactions worth $1.2 billion. The venture was co-founded by the 26-year-old Nigerian entrepreneur Iniluwa Aboyeji. Google logo on office building in Irvine, California. You might recall that Aboyeji previously co-founded Andela, the Nigerian startup which trains African software developers for professional deployment in leading global firms. Andela is doing great, by the way. Just 1 year after landing $24 million of funding from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, U.S. investors have poured an additional $10 million into Andela's coffers. With his latest venture, however, Aboyeji appears to have hit a sweet spot in terms of executing on a fintech concept that promotes financial inclusion on the continent, courtesy of a payments API that makes processing transactions easier for African financial institutions and businesses, while also ticking boxes for potential applicability in other markets around the world. Through Flutterwave, consumers can pay for goods in the local currency, while in the background allowing the firm to do all the heavy lifting in terms of integrating banks and payment service providers into its platform so that businesses aren't saddled with unnecessary transaction costs and technical burdens. Flutterwave appears to be a great example of how employing a Lagos-first strategy can pay off in terms of providing a launchpad for regional growth. Aboyeji now plans to use his company's newfound resources to grow his team, improve operational capabilities and grow into other African markets. Not to be outdone, East Africa landed its first investment from the MENA-focused venture capital investor Wamda Capital, which came in the form of a $10.3 million debt equity Series A round in the mobile-driven supply platform, Twiga Foods. Twiga services retail outlets, kiosks, and market stalls in Kenya, and Wamda now joins the firm's impressive roster of headline investors, which include Dob Equity, AHL Ventures, and Amidya Network. The investment is expected to help Twiga increase the number of vendors they're able to serve each day in Nairobi, aid the diversification in their product portfolio, and allow them to introduce advanced supplier services. Since being established in 2014, Twiga has grown into the largest distributor of several basic food staples in Kenya, having sold more than 55 million bananas alone, and delivering more than 4,000 orders a week. File in this file photo dated May 17, 2017. File photo. Google CEO Sundar Pichai delivers a keynote address for the Google I/O conference in Mountain View, California. Pichai has cancelled an internal town hall meant to address gender discrimination on Thursday, August 10, after employee questions for management began to leak online from the company's internal messaging service. App photo. Eric Grisberg. File. The company's mission is to improve the efficiency of Kenya's agricultural market by addressing key economic issues, including soaring food prices. Twiga is set to benefit from having Wanda's chairperson, Fadi Gandua, join the board of directors, and has notably attracted $2 million worth of grant funding from USAID, GSMA, and others to support complementary initiatives such as Bolton Farmer Services and domestic food safety initiatives. Meanwhile, South Africa's startup community is buzzing at the prospect of a novel alternative startup finance platform dubbed Shash First Equity crowdfunding site being launched. So far 30-odd startups and investors have reportedly signed up to Uprise Africa since the site recently went live. And according to the platform's co-founder, Patrick Schofield, the venture is set to start operations in October 2017 with 6 pre-vetted deals that has provided the Financial Services Board approves their investment structure by then. And Alma Suku is a broadcaster and entrepreneur based in Johannesburg. He is the executive producer at AfricanTechRoundup.com. Follow him on Twitter at Misuku Ondal and the African Tech Roundup at African Roundup. Business Report.